password, so I had 5,000 machines, all with blank administrator passwords. What was the question there?
How do you search something like that?
Oh right, yeah, that's what I started to realise. This was just too huge a job for one person.
Right,
I thought,
absolutely.
It could take me years and years and years. And it did become boring, because most of the time you find nothing. And also my relationship was going down the pan, I'd left my job, I was going down the pan, wasn't eating properly, wasn't washing properly. It was a proper unhealthy obsession.
So you were really motivated, though, on a certain level.
Yeah, I thought I was doing something that would ultimately be for the benefit of a lot of people. So.
Well, I think there are a lot of people out there that would support sort of the right to know on a certain level, certainly free energy. And if we're sending officers off-world then what are we doing using things like the space shuttle, the ancient machinery that's blowing up in space?
Yeah. And I think what you're saying about hacking to find stuff out, I think I wouldn't advise anyone to do it or anything like that. But there's plenty of times in history where you can only gain freedom by breaking the law. Jesus himself, I remember in the Bible, telling people off where poor people were stealing food off the tables. And they were, cutting their hands off. And he's like, yeah, they're poor, they're starving. Let them steal a little bit. How's it going to hurt you?
Right. Would you, do you envision a future for yourself?
I'd like for this whole thing to be dropped, or at least to be tried in my own country. That's the first thing. That's obviously taking up a lot of my energy at the moment. Beyond that, I'm absolutely fed up with fixing people's computers, and I'd like to follow my singing ambitions, which is where my main passion lies, singing and songwriting.
Oh, great, okay.
I'm sick of machinery and technology and fast living and profit and...
Okay. So is there anything else that you'd want to, tell people that kind of about this experience? About where you were at those 2 years. Obviously, it's a few years later. You're kind of older and wiser, but is there a message within what you were doing back then? Kind of, if you can place yourself back then.
Always listen to your girlfriend.
Okay, I hear that. Very good. Okay, well, this is Kerry Cassidy, and we've been talking here with Gary McKinnon. And having a beer out in a pub, the back of a local pub here in London on the outskirts. Isn't that right?
That's correct.
And I do have one other question. I'm wondering, do you think to this day that you've got organizations that are using that kind of administrative blank password, duplicating desktops?
Right. Well, I'm not sure, but is it the Government Accounting Office over there, or the General Accounting Office? They put out a report every year appraising federal security and critical national infrastructure. And I read that every year, and every year it doesn't get any better.
Wow.
So I think I'd stake a hefty amount of money that if I went and did that again today, that you could probably do the same thing again, yeah.
So what that actually means is that there could be easily some people out there that are coming across the same things you are.
I reckon, yeah.
They're just not getting caught.
Yeah.
Right. Now, just in terms of the ET situation, did you ever have a sighting yourself, or have you ever, had any interactions with other races, other beings from other planets?
No, I saw something once when I was about maybe 11 or 12, I think. And it was just a light in the sky. It was night time, and it wasn't moving in a straight line. It was moving very erratically. It had a general direction, but it was moving very erratically side to side. I thought, well, it's not a meteor, it's not a satellite. But I didn't know what it was. It wasn't an aeroplane. The sort of lateral motion was quite fast.
Okay.
My stepfather had seen some stuff and had dreams about UFOs. And he lived in Falkirk near Bodybridge, and Bodybridge is now quite a hot spot for UFO sightings. Yeah. And he was a sci-fi fan and got me to sci-fi when I was young, so that kind of sowed the seed of this kind of stuff. And also, God, just the thought of meeting beings, you know, from somewhere else. So it'd be better than swimming with dolphins, wouldn't it?
Good point. Did you do any investigation of your own governments, or are you at liberty to say?
Let me put it this way: our government security is very, 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 very good.
Oh, really?
Computer security, yeah.
How about that? That's very.
But then again, so is the CIA's. I mean, Langham, for instance. Langley. That's very, 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 very good as well. So
but you were able to get into the Pentagon. You were able to get into NSA.
Yeah, but that wasn't via breaking their security mechanisms as such. That was via a very old technique called trust relationship exploitation. So you start off, say, on a Navy logistics site, which isn't well protected, and because you're already coming from a .mil internet address, then all the other .mils trust you.
Ah.
So you gradually, go up the hill and get in deeper.
Huh. So were you reading emails during this time? Were you able to come across that kind of thing?
No. I made it a personal rule not to read people's emails.
Oh, that's interesting.
I mean, I was looking for documentation, not communication. And if once you'd started reading emails, I mean, crikey, what a load of data to sift through. It would just be ridiculous.
What about the Majestic? Are you familiar with the Majestic site, website with Majestic documents, top secret documents, that some of which have been sort of exposed?
Yeah, I've heard about that. See, at the time, I wasn't really in the sort of UFO scene, as well as not really being in the hacker scene. So there's lots of stuff I wasn't aware of, and if it had been, I probably would have done a better job and got more out of it. But as far as I know, the Majestic things aren't proven to be real or false yet, are they? And I don't like to accept anything that I don't know is absolute fact, which is why I went to find out for myself.
Right.
Rather than,
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Gary. This has been great. And we're going to try to call Jerry Pippin now, who's helped set this up for us. And we hope to hear a lot more from you. Love to know what you're carrying in your back pocket, so to speak. I hope the day will come when disclosure allows you to actually reveal as much as you may have come across.
Well, I didn't say I was carrying anything on my back.
Absolutely. I understand, but you got to understand that there's always the question, and it's a fascinating subject. All right. Well, thank you very much.
I do have to appear, but I don't have the right to say anything. I have to make representations by June the 21st to John Reed, who's our Home Secretary.